In 1992, there were only 5 people on remote Campbell Island, more than 400 miles south of New Zealand, living together at the weather station. They all shared a deep love of nature. But on the afternoon of April 24th, 1992, they were reminded that for all its splendor and glory, nature also has a dark side.
Campbell Island's a really wild place with no contact with the outside world apart from our radio telephone. We didn't expect to see another ship or even a plane for the whole time we were down there, the whole 12 months.
On that day, communications specialist Robin Humphrey and the others had decided to stop work early.
We were going to go across to the western side of the island, which is about an hour and a half's walk, to go for a swim with the sea lions. So we were really keen to get out there and do it. You know, it's going to be something exciting to do for the afternoon.
Linda Dannon was a first aid specialist in the group.
Mike and I were planning to dive in this particular bay through the winter with the southern right whales.
Mike Fraser was the team leader.
We spent a lot of time together diving, and he was the best dive buddy I've ever had. It's the first time in a long time the whole 5 of us had done an activity together. You know, we'd been together for 5.5 months, and we'd really clicked.
That's all right. No worries. Warm anyway. Yeah.
We're on a mission. We're on a mission to have some fun.
Last one in's in Australia.
Jacinda Amy was a Department of Conservation ranger.
We tried to see who could get down to the bottom, and you're extremely buoyant, so it was quite a struggle to dive down onto the bottom. We were just larking around. It was great. Linda and Rob and Gus and I were all fairly much close together, and Mike could flip it out a bit further.
Quite clear though. There's all the surf. There's all the surf.
I heard Mike yelling and could see him thrashing around at something in the water. It was really awful. His body was outlined by the pointed nose of a shark.
I thought Michael was dead or about to die, and there wasn't anything we could do. I mean, you don't attempt to drag him away from a shark.
I knew I should have gone for the shore, but I felt his pain and his terror. It was really awful. It was unbelievable to see that happen in front of you. There was quite an ugly brown circle of blood. Mike! Suddenly Mike came up by himself and trying to do a crawl stroke. But it was just really pathetic to see his arms were floppy and useless.
Jacinda got a hold of him. She was carrying a live piece of bait, and that shark was still out there. And Jacinda had no idea where the shark was.
Nearly here. Come on. Get in and help him.
We directed her just around from the head down a little bit to where there was a shallow, sort of rocky shelf.
Give me a hand, Lucinda. Give me a hand.
His injury was very obvious to us at that stage. His right arm was missing from just below the elbow.
Lower it down.
He was having trouble breathing, and I thought, oh no, he's not going to make it. The remoteness of our location really sunk into me for the first time, and how ill-equipped we were to cope with a situation like that.
Here's a tourniquet.
He's not breathing properly.
One of the first things I did was to grab a strap off one of her masks, and we wrapped that around his damaged arm just to try and contain the blood loss.
Keep that press down. Keep that press down.
You're talking about a 36-hour boat trip just to get them off the island. You can't fly a small aeroplane into there. There's nowhere for them to land. And I thought, this guy's not going to make it. I'm pretty certain he's going to die here.
Push down, push down.
While Linda headed to a nearby hut for first aid supplies, the fastest member of the group, mechanic Gus McAllister, was chosen to run back to the base camp to radio for help.
Listen, Gus, you're the fittest.
I took a few instructions from Rob on how to get the radio transmission through, and I headed back over the big hill over to the base.
You're okay, mate.
Okay,
We've
Mike,
got you now.
we're with you.
You're out the water.
I just tried to keep him from seeing his right arm. But he said to me, "Oh, no, it's all right. I've seen it. I know it's gone." And he'd really accepted it already at that stage.
Hang in there, mate. All right,
Hang in there, Mike. First aid.
When I got back, the first thing I wanted to do was remove the tourniquet and put proper pressure bandages on Mike's arm. If it's left on too long, you then start losing the rest of the good part of the arm. My dad had been a butcher, so I'd seen lots of things go through a mincer machine, and all I could think of, poor old Mike's arm was, his arm just being completely shredded, just absolutely shredded with the sharpness of the shark's teeth.
Well, find something to splint that arm up with.
I'll use that snorkel.
He was cold. He was in a severe state of shock. He'd suffered enormous blood loss. He'd lost an arm. His other arm was severely lacerated, and we had to get him to shelter. And our first thought was that, we'll get him up to the hut.
Hang in there, Mike.
He had raw nerves, even though we'd bandaged it up. Just all the blood would just drain out of his face. You could just see the pain that he underwent when we were trying to move him.
Put him down.
We'd only got about a third of the way, and we couldn't go any further. So we decided we'll bring the hut to Mike.
We're 460 miles away from New Zealand in a sub-Antarctic environment. Air temperatures at night are maybe 30 or 40 degrees Fahrenheit, very cold. That's why we set about getting all this equipment to get them warm.
Mike, you're doing good. A minute.
Rob brought back with him just whatever he could find so that we could make Mike comfortable, because we knew that we're there for the night.
Gus managed to run the 5 miles back to base camp within 45 minutes. According to their emergency plan, anyone injured on Campbell Island was to be evacuated by helicopter more than 450 miles to the nearest hospital. But it had never been done before.
By a shark, over at your seat.
Hang in there. Topper's on its way. Topper's on its way.
As time passed, Mike's condition continued to deteriorate.
We were sitting in the tent trying to give Mike a lot of confidence, but even so, we knew that to get this helicopter off the ground and get it underway was going to take an awful long time, and we just weren't certain if Michael had the strength remaining to last out that length of time.
Pilot John Fennell had already been working 12 hours when they got the call.
The flight that we were about to undertake is probably the longest flight that anyone in this part of the world has ever done in a helicopter. And we had to increase the range of the helicopter from 3.5 hours up to at least 6.5, and hopefully we would have enough fuel to then turn around and go somewhere else should we not be able to find the island.
Gus brought back painkillers and antibiotics a doctor had prescribed over the radio. But there was no stockpile of blood on the island.
So the concern was the navigational aspect. It was a small island in the middle of a big ocean with nothing around it.
Despite the risks, paramedic Pat Wynn had volunteered to be the medic on the flight.
I was worried about major blood loss, but also whether the patient would be still alive when we arrived. Must have been there about an hour and a half, and the fuel in the main tanks had dropped. So she had to refuel the machine in mid-air.
Hang on to it, Mike. Doing real good. Doing really well.
Hang in there, mate.
The longer the wait for proper medical attention, the greater the risks were of Mike dying.
Good on you, mate.
That made the wait very long.
Can I do anything?
No, mate.
When the rescue helicopter finally got within range of Campbell Island, they made contact with a research ship that had come to the island to try to help. But there was heavy cloud cover in the area.
You see the tanker over there, Pat?
No, I can't see the lights at all. No. We hovered around for some time trying to find a hole for the cloud to get through.
It was a relief to see the lights on the boat.
So we're actually really elated that we made it. We actually finally did it. We were there. Hi folks, Pepman from Tupper, what have you got? He was deeply blue, cyanotic, which is a lack of oxygen. And I asked the ladies concerned his blood pressure, his last blood pressure, and they said they couldn't get it for the last hour, which means your kidneys are really starting to fail, and Michael's in a very serious state.
Because it was so cold, Pat made the decision we should load him in the helicopter and take him across to their base on the other side of the island.
Okay, that's it.
Hold on, Mike. Come on, you're doing good.
John said to me as I got into the first aid room, he says, how long are you going to need? I said, well, John, either way, either the patient dies or survives, I'm going to need 3 hours to try and get this patient back to some condition before we can move out. Right then, Michael, just going to get into your arm. Hang on there, that's a boy.
He undid the splint where the snorkel was, and Mike's arm basically fell apart. So that meant that Mike had no right arm from his elbow down, and he lost his left arm. That was worse than seeing his arm taken off.
I just couldn't believe that a shark could do so much damage to one person.
He's in safe hands now.
It's real sad. We'd been a real team. You know, and the team's broken. There are 5 real close people. And now it was time for that one team member to go.
32-year-old Mike Fraser was taken to the nearest hospital, where miraculously doctors were able to repair his damaged left arm. In the 2 years since the incident, he has adjusted to the loss of his right arm, and with physical therapy, he continues to slowly regain the use of his left.
When I first saw the shark, I thought I was dreaming. Everything happened so quick, and I remember thinking at the time, oh, a shark, it can't be a shark. I mean, there's no sharks here. Then a second thought came across my mind that, oh, I know what it's like to drown now. It wasn't actually crossing my mind that here's the shark that's going to kill me. I thought I was going to drown.
Did you get that one? You seem to have it under control.
Oh, I'm doing okay now. Got a couple of spare arms. One sort of light one just for doing computer work, another one a bit more metal on and heavy duty for pruning pine trees. And I haven't really found anything that I cannot do now.
It's good to see him up and about. You know, he's not the sort of guy you can keep down. He's pretty tough. He's just gone on and lived, and I really admire him for doing that. Yeah, he's done it well.
I'm extremely proud of Jacinda. You know, we were all what I call the herd instinct, bolting for our lives, and she had the instinct halfway back to stop in the water. She put her own safety at risk. She stopped and she calmly assessed the situation. I think what Jacinda did is just one of the most amazing scenes I've ever contemplated in my life, I've ever witnessed. Extremely brave thing to do.
Sid.
The thing that saved Michael's life was actually the team on the island. If they hadn't given the first aid they did as a team, Michael would have passed away. He'd have died before I got to him.
People shouldn't be afraid of sharks at all. The odds on getting bitten by a shark is so phenomenally small, it's just not funny. So many more people get killed in car accidents, and yet nobody thinks twice about jumping in the car and driving to work in the morning.
Pruning season been cutting off the tree.
There's so many people involved. I'm just so extremely grateful to everyone. It was a case of good luck, good planning, and just everything came off. But you know, I'm just extremely grateful to everyone involved.
Angie, come here. You can come up.
Mike and I seem to have become an item. We started to see each other quite a lot through last year, and fell in love with each other and sort of thought this is the way to go. now we are together. Yeah. Looking forward to a long life together.